We just are calculating and holding that, and we'll see if we use it. We could use it to walk-ons. We could use it to a senior transfer. If there's one of those cats, we're not going to. There's no rush to do that. Most of those guys that came around April, May. So we're kind of sitting on one. It's a good class of 24. I appreciate a lot of the effort of a lot of folks, because for us to do what we've done the last couple of years, recruiting takes a lot of people, whether it be our in-house recruiting guys like Cody. Jeff Sims was here that moved on, but Cody to Garden City College as head coach, but Cody Rager's running that program down there for us. People at their hotels, the food, our hosts, you name it. There's a lot of people that make our recruiting efforts go, so it's a collective effort. A lot of professors helping us academically, support staff. We kind of do a day in a life when a kid comes in, and you guys have seen how the building works, but we run them through academics, into the training room, into dressing out, to the locker room, to just, how this building functions. It takes a lot of people. So the recruiting efforts is a lot of people, and we appreciate that. I think Jay Louder, our graphics guy, probably and Brent and Joel that do our videos, that we put out a lot of our branding of our stuff, or some behind-the-scenes guys. We actually took a secretarial spot a couple years ago and turned it into a graphic spot, and that's big with these kids. They show me a picture, show me my image, and put me up and help brand me as a recruit. So that's a big part. So a lot of people go into this, excited about the class. I will say going forward now, we did put 5 more walk-ons on scholarship mid-year. When we had seven guys leave mid-year, we added our 2 transfers. We had 5 more spaces, so we got guys on a half a scholarship now for half the year. I think it's Mitchell Page. I think that's Andre Booker. Sean Damaska, a tight end. Those are 2 receivers. Sean Damaska, a tight end. Tyler Lukens, one of our offensive linemen. And I am missing one. Who's my 5th one there? Andrew Wilson, running back from Columbus East. So we were able to go the max, and still with our early graduates, we're able to get some mid-year guys. So I want to recognize those guys. Those guys' scholarships will be used in the next recruiting cycle, but those kids are doing a good job there with that. Signing again, we signed 24. We got the 2 mid-year guys from UAB. There's 10 guys from the Midwest, 4 from our state. Isaac James, Brandon Knight, Jacob Robinson, Joe Belden, but 4 in-state guys coming from great programs, all those kind of out of central Indiana, the Metro. 3 Ohio guys. We've always gotten 2, 3, 4, 5 out of Ohio, 2 out of Chicago. And this is the first time in my time we've gotten someone from St. Louis. It's 3.5, 3:45, 4 hours. It's good football. Coach Enns is from St. Louis. Coach McDaniel's from St. Louis. We got good ties. Coach McDaniel will remind me in his time when Indiana was rolling, there was a good contingent of St. Louis players during the Mallory era. So it was nice to get Devondre Love. So within 5 hours, we kind of start. We got 10 guys in the Midwest. Travel down south like we've been doing. I think the last couple years we've taken 4 or 5 from Georgia, 4 or 5 from Florida. I think you look the last 2 or 3 years, it's kind of been that way. This year was 2 from Georgia, not counting the UAB guys. Marqui Hawkins is from Columbus, Carver, but 2 Georgia natives and then 5 kids out of Florida. I think last year it was 4, year before that was 5. That's kind of been our norm. What was new this year, we did take 3 guys out of Maryland, the D.C. area, basically. One of those kids is Northern Virginia, but the D.C. Metro. We took 1 junior college player late in Camion Patrick and a young man from Texas. So class of 24 kind of follows what we've done the last couple of years. I will say this, if you look at it, for example, when I go through and pull up some of those, the guru guys that rate all the guys, Rival started in 2002. And if you pull up conference, it'll list now 14 teams for all those years, even though in 2002 there was 11 Big Ten teams, because Nebraska was still in the Big 12 and Maryland Rutgers went there, but it'll rake all 14. Our last 3 years, we've been somewhere rated between 5, 6, and 7, 5, 7, 7, something like that last 3 years. Previously, there's 6 14s, 2 13s, 2 12s, and 2 11s. Excuse me, 1 11. So our average is 13.36 until the last 3 years. So we've gotten 3 years of recruiting some better talent. It's longer bodies. It's better bodies. It's guys that are actually, quote, more wanted by other schools. The previous 4 recruiting classes, we signed the 2011 class. So the 10, 9, 8, and 7 class, those guys had 28 players that their only offer was Indiana, if I can believe what's on the sites. 27 guys that were offered non-BCS level, and then 26 guys had a BCS level offer other than Indiana. I think this class right here of 24, I think the majority, and you guys can pull up and do your own research, but I think it's not quite 100%, but it's close. that every one of those kids had to be. And you go to last year's class, so it's 3 years of competitive recruiting, and that's not me and that's not our staff. It starts with the administration, their commitment, funding, giving us the ability and resources to go see kids, getting kids on campus where we're doing first-class visits, treating kids the right way when they're here on visits, the support of the academic, the weight room guys. Our team has become awesome recruiters and how they connect and sell our brand and sell our product and sell our vision. So again, it's on paper a good class. Now this paper needs to transition into some W's. And of course the best class on paper in the history of school has got one spring under its belt. We just started our second winter workout this morning with those guys. So they're still green in the developmental stage, but we look forward to developing what appears to be some better talented guys, or some high-end, some better talent to work with, a better starting point. Also in the class now, as far as the needs, when you're signing 24, 25, you're signing a little bit of a balance to me, across the board. Not maybe taking one of everything. We did have some points of emphasis. I'll highlight those quickly for you. We took 4 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen. So there's 7 bigs in the class, big bodies. I think the 4 linemen's pretty critical. You're getting to a point where years ago we played freshmen, and Jason Spriggs starts as a freshman, or Peyton Eckert and Bernard Taylor started as freshmen. Dan Feeney starts as a freshman. You like to take an O-lineman, not into redshirting everyone, but sometimes it's nice to get a winter, spring development, lifting, maturity. It's nice to develop an O-lineman. There's 4 O-linemen. I think we've got some very, very good linemen going into junior and senior years, and you don't want to wait till a lineman graduates and get another left tackle. You kind of like to develop those guys as you would a quarterback per se. You want to groom a guy for a little bit. I think the guys we've got at offensive line, we got Brandon Knight and Devon. Let me get him right here. Devontae, because there's DeAndre, Devondre. There's a bunch of them. So it's D-Love. Because I called one and I said, I'm going to call you D from now on this visit because I got to meet Devondays. 2 big tackles. Now, Brandon's an extremely athletic tackle. He was our top guy we went after that we thought we could get. Very fortunate to get him in state. Great story on his visit when he came down. Huge ties to another school within our state with his family. And, on the visits, as a coach, you're always anal, and everything's got to be perfect on the visits. So when he come down for a summer visit, we're doing a campus tour, and I'm the tour guide. I got you. You're my guy. Let's roll. As we popped in and out around campus, and Grandma was getting in her big golf cart, I accidentally ran over her foot. And she screamed a little bit, but that shows that even when you break Grandma's foot and give her a big hug, they still want to be Hoosiers. So we were able to work through that. It was a lot of fun that day. It's something we always send a little direct message tweet about how Granny's foot's doing from time to time. But like Brandon Knight at offensive tackle, very, very athletic. Going to need to get a little bit bigger in the weight room. Got the body too. Just going to need some strength. Just the way his effort, energy, the way he played. Very, very, very impressive. And really liked him. Devondre Love is a bigger guy. Will probably be right tackle. Brandon at left. We'll figure it out in time. But now he's as big as a house. He's as big as anyone we've got. I think he's more proportioned than Dimitri Camille, but 6'7" and long like him, 290 pounds, 300. Very big frame, very, very proportioned well the right way. 2 big guys to work with Brandon Knight being a little bit more athletic and D-Love being a little bit more of a road grader. 2 inside guys, Hunter Littlejohn. Might look at him at center or guard. I could see him maybe being center, and we've got some centers that are getting to the end of their time. Could see him at one of those inside 3 positions. Guy we were on from the get-go, liked the bunch, as his other fellow Ohio native, Simon Stepniak, who was our top target at guard. Coach Fry will tell you when he started, he wanted Brandon Knight and Simon Stepniak, and at those 2 positions, those were his 2 top targets. So very excited about those 2 guys, and I think Love and Littlejohn complement the O-line. D-line, we got 2 in-house guys, in-state guys with Joe Belden out of Avon and Jacob Robinson out of Westfield. Joe will probably start, he could play on the, we'll probably start him inside as an athletic kind of nose guy. We'll see how his body transitions into nose. That I've even considered him as an offensive center for what it's worth when you watch him play. But he starts on the D-line as an inside guy. I see Jacob Robinson and I see Brandon Wilson. It's either our stand-up bandits or guys that grow into being the 5 technique that put their hand on the ground. Jacob, again, heavily recruited, as was Brandon Knight. Several Big Ten schools, after committing, continue to pursue him. Brandon Wilson sitting in Florida last week, and Coach Inge is there, and the Gators and the Tar Heels called to see what he's doing last weekend. Does he want a trip? So pretty highly talented guy playing basketball, and excited about Brandon Wilson. I think he was committed to another school before we got him. In the mid-skill, we got 4 guys to me in the mid-skill area. A tight end, Austin Doris, who's one of the guys that played quarterback in his class. We had him at camp last year. Liked him, offered him immediately after camp. Very athletic, tremendous basketball player. Going to be very good, comparable to Bolzer and Fuchs that we have now as an athletic guy. We'll need to get bigger in the blocking side of things, but scored a boatload of points. Basically was their player on a tremendous high school team over at Shadyside over on the river on the West Virginia-Ohio state line. But again, very excited about Austin Doris. At inside linebacker, we've got 2 mid-skill guys. And that'd probably be the position that was maybe recruited least because we felt no different a year ago. You're sitting a year ago with some quarterback depth where it's hard to attract the quarterback. Well, you're sitting here playing freshman and sophomore linebackers that are pretty good and are getting recognized for all Big Ten, this or that. So in the linebacker world, it was difficult to go get some linebackers we wanted. We didn't take as many as we might have liked, but we like what we got, and we'll complement that with our in-house walk-ons. We got Raekwon Jones, very athletic, strong guy. He just told us the other day he benched 400 pounds. He was at 380. He was trying to go past his father as a 400-pound bencher. Athletic linebacker out of Panama City, Florida. Very intrigued about Raekwon, excited of him, great kid. And Amari Stringer that's been with us. I think he'll play outside as our field outside backer. Young man out of Chicago, out of Crete-Montet, Amari Stringer. The other mid-skill guys are 1 true quarterback in the class to me, and that's Austin King. Again, Austin coming out of Georgia, plays in a style of offense that's very prevalent in that region because it's the air raid, Hal Mummy, Mike Leach, Chris Hatcher, Valdosta offense where it's spread, it's gun. You can see him distribute the ball, make all the throws you want. Great touch on the screen game and underneath throws, flares to the tailbacks, stepping into curls, quick games, making the go balls and the dig shots. Great command presence, good body language. I think he'll be a quality quarterback for us. In the skill positions now, we've got a lot. We got 2 running backs, we got 3 quarterback athletes, 4 more receivers, and 4 more DBs. So if you look at that there, basically we've got 13 guys that are skill-oriented. I think the area we've improved in the line of scrimmage as an O-line and as a D-line. I think we've gotten better at linebacker, but we need to be better defensively in the perimeter, and I think it's obvious the way we played last year on offense, our receiver play needs to pick up. So those were big areas of emphasis. 1, starting with Jordan Howard. So again, on the recruiting rankings, he and the other transfer give you 0 ranking. For what that's worth, but as a recruit, probably the biggest target we went after, and it was all luck when we got him. We talked about that before. They're dropping football. We looked into it. They had a great running back. We didn't know it, and we thought Coleman might be leaving. He's here. He's doing well. He's a big back. He's a different back, but we're excited about him. Again, he was, I think, second in the nation in carries. He had 2 fumbles, over 300 carries, so he's dependable. 900 yards is almost 880-something as a freshman. So very excited about Jordan Howard. And we added late. Let me get this D right because I got all my D's here. Devontae Williams. Dre's and Tays there, get me. All right. He is a very, very dynamic player. Came to us early. Actually wanted to commit last spring. And I was like, I don't know if I want a running back. And we continue to recruit him, but like we don't know. And about 2 weeks left, we kind of hit him back. Coach McCullough kept recruiting him because he was always Coach McCullough's top high running back because he loved the speed he brought, playing in space, some things he thought there was a little missing from some of the other backs we had recruited, and thought it'd be a nice piece to complement his room. He was always Coach McCullough's target, but as we looked at it, wasn't for sure, if even with Tevin going, if we got Jordan, do we need receivers? Do we need defensive backs? Do we have other critical needs? So, held it, but as 2 weeks left, you started looking around who's the best player on the board. He became a lot more better player on the board, especially watching his senior tape. And I didn't even watch his senior tape till after the new year, really a couple weeks ago. We kind of judged him as a junior. When you put his senior tape on, what I liked when we put his senior tape on, the DB coaches said, we need to take that guy because he's a very, very dynamic player. So we like Devontae as a speed guy and Jordan as a proven guy at running back. 3 guys at quarterback athlete. We'll start Donovan Hale at quarterback, bigger kid. I don't know if he his frame says if he's not a quarterback, he might be a tight end or outside linebacker. He's pushing 6'4" and about 215 now. So he's going to be a Chris Covington-sized kid, if not a little bit taller. So a very comparable body, very raw. A guy to work with at quarterback. He's coming off of a meniscus surgery. I think someone put up, might have been ACL a while back. It's just a 4 to 6 week meniscus deal. So he'll be running here by the end of this month and train him. We'll start him at quarterback. We'll see where he goes. I could see him playing a lot of positions, but a little bit more big skill than small skill because of his body type. Now, Mike Majette and Isaac James. Mike is a D.C. kid out of Northern Virginia. Isaac out of Carmel, right up the road. Those are two guys that were defensive back, punt return, kick return, wildcat quarterback, tailback, slot receiver, wide receiver, wherever coach wanted them to get the ball. I see them starting on offense because they're pretty doggone good with the ball in their hand. So whether they're back catching kicks or playing slots on bubbles and reverses or playing inside or outside receiver, they could play defensive back. There's potential need that they could go there. We'll probably wait the summer to figure it out. But we're recruiting them as offensive players because they're really, really good with the ball in their hand. And, we need the ball out there in space to some of those guys. So see those guys as potential slot guys. At big receiver, we got 4 guys. 2 high school guys in Nick Westbrook and Leon Thornton, both bigger, 6'1", 6'2", with Leon 6'1 plus, not quite 6'2", and Nick's pushing 6'3". I think Nick led the state of Florida in receiving yards at 1,800 yards. We were really worried. He had several other schools contacting him late. He committed early, fell in love with the school, was our top guy, great student. Very fortunate, again, he didn't waver, but we were worried about people coming after him. Leon Thornton, a very, very dynamic kid out of Montini, Chicagoland. I think they won a couple state titles, got beat in the last 2 championship games. Quality program, very dynamic, very explosive. 2 older receivers, the UAB transfer, Marqui Hawkins, who's 6'2", 210. And then I'm very excited today about Camion Patrick. He's a 3-for-3 guy. Didn't play his first year at junior college. He'll be like Stephen Houston. He'll have 3 years. He should graduate here 1st of May. We'll try to get him in here for May and get him going summer. Seen him practice when we were down. I saw him practice the Thursday before our Ohio State game. I flew down to see those guys at a workout, and then I saw them play their national championship game. I think he's a really dynamic, high-end, big-time Big Ten player. He's going to be real good, and he better be because I think he's special. In the back end defensively, Jonathan Crawford, outstanding safety, again, continued to be pursued by several Power 5 conferences after committing. Teammates with Donovan Hill, big kid, 6'2 plus, going to push 2'5", 210. When he's there, he's probably about 185 now. Big frame, physical guy at safety. Jamil Cook, another safety we took late. Very, very physical kid out of Houston. See those 2 guys at safety. And then we're going to start Tyler Green. A lot of people had him listed as a safety. Ty is a big 6'2", pushing 3, but a big 6'2". He's long, he's narrow, he's got great hips. We're going to try him as a big corner, but a corner that can flat out run. He's got great feet, great change of direction. And the last one we have penciled at corner, who's a hybrid athlete, is Andre Brown. We told him all along he'd be a corner. He wanted to play corner. He is very comparable to Majette and Isaac James, hybrid quarterback. So a lot of good skill guys we like. 7 big guys on the front end, a little bit of mid-skill, but a lot of skill, some nice big guys. Decent here in the backyard as we start, and I think it kind of follows the trend. I think the only new trend was a couple kids out of the D.C. area, for what it's worth. Questions?
Talk a lot about receivers. You can't mention his size. How important was it to get those longer, bigger body guys for the outside?
Well, I said to our staff last couple of years, I thought we're just getting a little small. And, of course, the smaller you go, you think you get a little speed. Sometimes if you're not careful, I was talking to a coach of another sport here and was asking how it was going, how their team, and he started talking about recruiting, and he says, well, we need to be bigger and faster. And I said, well, you're like us. If you get big, you start getting slow. If you get the faster guys, you start saying you're small. It's hard to get the combination of I'm extremely long, take up space, and I'm very, very mobile. So I do like the length of these guys. I do think there is a lot of athleticism. I think Camion Patrick in person is very comparable to Latimer, except I think he's more fluid and smoother and transitions in and out, breaks faster. I think he's going to be really good. So it's nice he's big, but I really like his maturity. Now, I think Hawkins is going to be a bigger guy, not as fluid, a little bit more stiff. I think that's why in Florida he was moved to defense. And there's a chance maybe he gets moved to defense here. He's here to play big safety. he was moved, or he was here to play receiver, big receiver. He was moved to safety at Florida. And we'll see as we go through spring where those bodies transition out. But size, and I'm talking about not size, I'm thinking size. I mean, we're looking at Tyler Green as a corner. We need some size in the perimeter because sometimes we have guys in position and we're not big enough to make the play. And you're there and it's a good call, and we got to make a little bit more competitive plays. You saw the other night in the Super Bowl a bunch of one-on-one great competitive plays. And that's where the game's going to. So I think we got some athletes that'll hopefully be better space, but I think that's still, we still struggle in space, our ability to make plays on both. When our offense has been good, we've had some really good space players. Our defense has struggled to me due to a lack of being good in space.
A lot of guys that we've had Shane Wynn and Jay Sean, and now I think James and Majette are a little bit bigger. Not huge guys, but
they're bigger though.
They're bigger guys than what you've had. Is that also something you were trying to do?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, again, if you're taking a smaller guy, he needs to be unbelievably dynamic and have great hands. And so don't have average hands or average. If you're, you know, as you come down, like I think Jay Sean is a little bit like Shane, there's some dynamic stuff. But in a perfect world, I think you like a guy like Isaac James, who's a little thicker and he can run through trash and doesn't go down on the first arm tackle, and he can take a 3-yard bubble and get you 6, 7, 8 yards. So I see those guys as the slots, and they're 185, 90-pound kids. They're going to be bigger than those guys.
Coach, there's been a lot of flipping of commitments, not just with you guys, but around the country. And there's a lot of talk and chatter about having an earlier signing period. Would that be beneficial for teams, or would it be a double-edged sword? You know, you don't get Devontae Williams, and you might not lose a Tommy Stevens type of guy.
Yeah, and you say that too. They might not sign with you because they committed didn't mean they were coming. Because to me, if a guy's committing, starts shopping around, you can call it soft commits, whatever. If a guy's taking visits, he's not committed, and we don't really honor it. We don't get mad. You can get mad and pull your scholarship. To me, what we try to do in our recruiting process, like I had a kid tell me 2 weeks ago he wanted to commit, and I said, I don't want you to commit. I need you to come here and be a great player. Go to school and get an education, treat people the right way. That's what I need. You committing does nothing for me. That just says you're coming. What does that mean? I need you to do something when you get here. So our whole deal about getting guys to commit is to slow down, make sure they're doing it for the right reasons. I think it's why we're able to hang on to some of the guys like we do. I think kids commit too early. Too many coaches pressure guys. Everybody pressuring every kid to commit is all sitting here with the scholarship at the end, as we're sitting here with one. So one we never pressure. Some guys do. They try to get a guy to fold his cards. We had a guy visiting last week. The school got him to fold his cards. It's called Texas Hold'em. You're bluffing a little bit. Hey, if you go, someone else is going to take the spot. We always look at it if we want you, we're going to have one for you. And so we try to build relationships. But when you say, I mean, to me, and it's kind of tough now, and it's kind of amazing how a kid can go and take other trips, and that's fine. But if a coach pulls the scholarship back, that's bad business. You know, so I mean, to me, I like the early signing day because, trust me, a lot of these guys that have offers is some assistant coach blowing smoke about an offer. And trust me, if it come time to write the check, I'd have some checks that wouldn't be sent in the mail. And that guy's sitting there on whatever day, where's my scholarship? So you would be surprised if there was an earlier signing day, it would cut out some of the, so I'm all for it. I'm for doing one the first day in August. I'm not for moving up the recruiting calendar because kids are committing. Now, there's arguments from a lot of Big Ten people, we should have official visits in the summer. It's beautiful up here, unbelievable greenery, everything's awesome, flowers blooming. Come to Bloomington in June versus January. Every Florida kid that comes in January loves it. So, I mean, you know, so I don't know if we got to speed it up, but I like inking them up because what it would do, it forced me as a coach, do I want to send that scholarship? And you know right then if that kid didn't sign, he truly didn't commit. He grabbed the bird in the bush. He's got one in the hand, but he's still looking around. So it's a little bit of the dynamic. It's a little bit of a free-for-all. I think that's why you got a lot of bags on coaches' eyes, sitting up late at night on telephones and sending. I mean, you think as a 53-year-old coach, you want to be direct messaging a kid at 11 o'clock at night, but here you go. How you doing? Thinking about you. What's going on? Sending that love out. Let's go. Need you here. Let's roll. So I'm all about the early signing day, but you know, the administrators and all that will figure it out. We're talking about it, but but I do think when you say early signing day, you'd be surprised. Some kids maybe wouldn't sign. Yeah, I'd say of some of our commitments, some of our commitments might not have signed, just waiting to see what else happened. Because trust me, there's still a little shopping around. I think that a lot of people do. As a coach, you do it. As a recruiter, they do it.
Fourth of your class played quarterback in high school. You like
Yeah, strong question, because I think there might be, it's not just the smarts. One, there's pressure to play that position. So that guy's under the gun. You can't hide. Sometimes I know I played offensive guard. You can hide a little bit. You know, you can hide certain positions. When you're out there and it's balls in your hand, once they're used to handling pressure. But Coach Walker years ago, and I think it started with Coach Mallory, wanted to recruit as many tailbacks and as quarterbacks, because typically in high school, the best player touches the ball as much as possible. So, I mean, like, I think Austin Doris has the frame and body to be a great tight end. I had a kid at Oklahoma, very similar. Was a quarterback that became I had a kid that was a quarterback in high school, was an all-conference offensive tackle one time, just because he's a big frame that grew. So I just like the fact, well, you call it smarts, I call it he's the guy, and he's had to be accountable for his performance on a weekly and daily basis. So like you said, it's 6 of those guys that played that position. But again, you look at their body types and skill sets, I see a DB or two, I see a receiver or two. I see 2 of them as bigger guys. That one's going to be a tight end, and the other one, if he's not a quarterback, might be a tight end. So I think the only thing we haven't done as well as I would have thought, and I think the game's changed, but I would have told you 10 years ago in recruiting, we would have signed more tailbacks than we would have done. I think the game's played more for receivers, but it used to be everybody handed the ball off, and you would sign 3 or 4 tailbacks in every class, convert those guys to corners, convert those guys to receivers. Now with the spread offense, there's probably more trained receivers than used to be. Yeah, we'll see. Now, I think Covington's going to be limited with spring, so we're going to keep him at quarterback, because he's going to be limited to come off. Now, he's running. He's out there. We had workouts today, and both he and Suffelder are doing the majority of everything, but they won't be contacted through spring. So we're going to keep him at quarterback, because he can't have contact, which he would need if he's back on defense. Zeke will be back on defense right now. And then we'll see. We're going to start, I would say right now we have 1 quarterback in this class, and Donovan's going to come in, and we'll tell in preseason camp, month or 2, 3, you're going to stay there, or we're going to start transitioning him to maybe a better. But I will say this, anytime that we've recruited someone, we've had several meetings recently, that we will not have a kid play another position unless the kid understands that that's good for him. If he says it's good for the team, that doesn't work. It has to. If it's good for him, it's good for the team. And every decision we make on that is that kid buying in that it's good for him. And so we'll see how that thing evolves.
This morning you mentioned that
well, you got to, I pulled out during the season when Mississippi State and Baylor, where I said, well, okay, well, what was their class last year and the year before that and the year before that, and what were their 5 classes? You know, if you redshirt it, you're playing with, 4 years worth of guys or 5. And all those guys were nationally rated between 30 and 50. Yet they're playing top 10 football. And we've got a couple now that kind of get us in that 30 to 50 range. And so to me, it's just you're starting. Now we still have to develop, and we still have to coach, and we still got to put it together and go play. And that's a part of the whole thing. Where right now, this morning before signing day faxes, we had a 6 a.m. team workout. I mean, now it's really big with our coaches back with our team leadership, our team morale, our team development. So we got to develop these guys. I don't think we're ever going to be at a place. I don't know if any college team is a place where you're not developing what you got. So we got to develop these cats. But I think we're starting at a higher point. You're starting with a better body to develop, or more potential to take that body and make that into a better player. And to me, that's what you want. And we got to keep fighting that battle, because now it's just, there's just, to me, the next little hurdle for this team is to understand and embrace competition and realize those little things you need to do to get over the hump to be successful. Because it's easy to get close and have a reason not to bail out, but those little things we need to do in development and execution to be good, and hopefully have enough depth to be like we need to be. So we're getting there. I think we've shown we can do it, and quite honestly, you got to keep doing it. For us to be the program we need to be, and you could take those rankings and all there, and you could skew it and make it look worse than it is, better than it is. It's a better starting point. We've got to take them, and 4 years down the road, we got to move them a long way and make them into the man, the player that we need them to be. Well, for example, to me, first of all, you're selling a great product. I mean, you guys know. I mean, I don't know. You just open up your eyes and walk around this place. Now, come on now. I mean, you guys need to go on the road and walk around some facilities, walk around some campuses. We got a heck of a deal. The football in state's gotten a lot better. The first year, and again, have we gotten better? I don't know. The first year we got hired, we put together staff, it goes dead, and you had 3 weeks. And you can look at some schools right now, it's got 3 weeks. It's tough. Not only in those 3 weeks, but that's when, like right now, every visit, every time I went to see a committed senior, I was tying it into seeing the good juniors. Well, that first year, I didn't know who the juniors were. I was begging Shane Wynn or Cody Latimer, come here. Please come. I didn't know. I went to Dayton and saw Cody and kept on going. I know there's other guys in Dayton, Ohio. Didn't have time for it. Saw Shane, kept on rolling. So that second year to me, we had basically a year to recruit guys. But as we recruited that second year, you started seeing Antonio Allen as a 10th grader, and you got a relationship going with kids. And as we've gotten relationships with kids, and we've also gotten relationships with our players that are selling our product, it has really helped us do a great job recruiting. To me, the key missing ingredient is us getting the W's we need to be the consistent winning program that we're going to be. Other than that, there's a lot of things that quite honestly, it's easy for our coaches work at it, and I work at it. I put a lot of. You go get that guy. Let's go get him. We're going to show you as much love, energy. I've had kids say, "Hey," they can't believe that's me shooting a message to them. And I'm sitting there talking to the kid. We work hard. Coach Mr. Glass has given us the resources to go see kids, and we go see them. And when we go in there, we're showing love to a kid. We've been already starting on the 16 class, and the feedback I get from certain players is they appreciate the attention that we're showing. So it's relationship building, and sometimes it takes time to build relationships. I think as we've got ingrained, we've built some relationships, whether it be here and as we travel into Georgia, Florida. It's and now that we've taken kids out of Georgia, Florida, it's easy to bring more kids from that region. So it's been a very, very positive sell.
You mentioned earlier this morning that you thought the spring game would be April 18th, and you were starting spring practice after spring break.
Yes.
Is part of the thought there, if you go a little bit later, maybe Nate and Chris can get some more reps later in the spring?
It wasn't really about those guys at all. It was more just as young as the team was, we needed an extra week or two of the weight room. So instead of shortchanging the development, we're actually going to have a 9-week cycle from the first day until that spring break Friday of a lifting. We'll be testing that week. Right now, we just started week 4, so we're in a 3-week, what we call Winter Edge Station program. We'll come back off of that in their lifting. We'll come back off of that with lifting. It goes into a little bit more football applicable running. We'll take spring break. We used to do a week of spring practice before. We're now just backed it up a week. And that's going to take us somewhere. We're going to do a spring game on the 18th because the Little 500's the next weekend. That'll be, we've always had like the Kid Youth Clinic. It's been great the last couple of years. We've had, last year we had a band and the end zone was jamming. It was fun. But we'll practice the next week. And I'm going to try to do something around the Little 5 races where our kids can be a part of Little 5, but maybe some of the students can be a little part of that kind of wrap-up deal. So, and I think in one of my deals, I actually got Twittered. I don't respond to everybody's message when they hit me. But I think when we talked earlier, I said the 11th was a spring game, and some guy sent me a message. He'd already bought a ticket. And so if you show me your airplane ticket and show up on a Saturday practice, you can stand by me and call every play for a spring practice. I owe somebody who's coming in here. So I have a personal invitation to a fan because I think I said the 11th because I had my Saturdays off. And we visited there about Jordan Howard and Marqui. But we'll be on a lifting cycle, starting in recruiting, staff development, staff leadership stuff right now. Come off a spring break. We'll go spring ball for 5 weeks. The 4th week is the 18th. We will not practice Easter weekend. We'll give our guys Friday, Saturday, Sunday off for the Easter weekend. But other than that, we'll practice Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. And we'll take that into somewhere around the Little 500 weekend.
Do you expect Nate and Chris to be able to take some full quarterback reps?
Oh, yeah. They're doing it now. They just can't hit. Like, for example, Nate's comment the other day was, if the snap's over here, I don't know how far I'm jumping to get it. But he's full go throwing, he's dropping. He just has some limitations with certain lifts, the things he can do with the left side. And Chris is probably about 85, 90%.
You talked about the importance of just having everybody that's already here serve as recruiters besides you guys. Just the fact that everybody is bought into the level that they're willing to sell it to everybody. How important is that, and how key is that to just the improvements that you've seen on the recruiting ground?
To me, again, it's their choice as a team, as players, whether they want to buy in and get it. But when they do, they sell it better than a coach. And when we do our recruiting visits, we spend very little time with the coaches and very little time talking football. As much time as we can outside of showing campus and academics, go hang out with our team and let those guys be the salesmen for what we're doing. This is where you're going to live. As coaches, we got our roommates and we got our dormitory room set up. This is where you're going to live. See if you like it. See if you can live here. And my deal, it's, it's a lot of guys, they get enamored and they get passionate. They might love something, but our deal, when you come here, see if you like it here. Because if you like it here, you're gonna stick here. When you get that, you get impressionable and you love something, all of a sudden you can get funky about something and get negative. But we want kids to experience what we think is a great place and see how much fun our guys have. So our visits are set up with a lot of time with our team. And our team sells our product very, very, I think, extremely well.
Jimmy, yes. Was that your last commit? Did it happen in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, he did over the weekend, but he just didn't want to tell anyone. Like, he told me he was coming. And I just, that's, to me, that's, that guy's, I think that guy's a really good player. I don't have a hard time until they get here and you really see him, but I've seen him twice in person. Nate Suffield spent some time with him and said he had never been around a better kid, was more mature. Just like a football junkie kid, wanted to talk ball 24/7, loves it. In this day and age of, it's very, very hard. You guys do an awesome job and you kill me in covering things. So, for example, I made a call a week ago to a running back. It was a bluff because I was trying to keep action off of someone. And a couple of you guys took the bluff, which helped me because I was trying to hide because I didn't want a school to know I was going to see their other guy. For example, this one kid wasn't offered by Auburn, but their head coach was sitting in an airplane talking to him before he got on an airplane to fly up here. So they didn't want it out that they were pressuring him to commit because they wanted other. And we were all juggling business, and it's kind of hard. Recruiting 15 years ago, you could have some dude in some little small school, and he'd be the best kept secret ever, and it was the greatest gym, and this is awesome. And now that's why all the flipping is going on. There's a bunch of guys sitting back in the office. They got a bunch of computers, and hey, so-and-so just offered so-and-so, pull up his video. Look, hey, tell coach to go by and see him. And there's just, it's information overload makes recruiting very, very hard. That being said, too, you better make sure you evaluate the right guys and get on them. And like I say, it's